Hi, scholars and academics. So as promised, we're going to go through the Career Research Analysis Project Directive. So pause me and go ahead and open up the directive so that we can move through it together and you can fully understand your important assignment that is due next week. Okay, so this week and next week, you will be working on this project so that you have plenty of time to make sure that it is accurate, it is fully researched, and that you feel good that you have hit all of the requirements to get that A. So let's talk about it. So now that you have it open, let's take a look. This is a career research analysis project and it is a slideshow. So every student in this course will be creating a slideshow, and I have very specific requirements for meeting the objective of this assignment. So let's start with the important part. Since it's a research slideshow, you must use research to help you identify the information required. So I am requiring that you have three total sources, but one source is the primary source that all of you must use, and that is what's listed at the very top. That is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. As you can see, there is a link there, but there are also links in the weekly learning module. That Occupational Outlook Handbook is actually a website that is calculated and put together and updated on the regular by the US government. It basically is tracking the information about careers in our country. So this is a very good primary source, and each and every one of you are required to use this as your primary source. Since you need 3 total and that is just 1, you're going to need 2 other sources. Now, I recommend you use the Career Coach. You took the Career Coach self-assessment last week and you got a very long results list. If you were to click on, let's say pilot was on your list, and that's what you want to research for this assignment. If you were to click on pilot on the Career Coach results, you would see that a whole bunch of new information pops up when you click on it. You get a whole new window with lots more information. You may use the Career Coach results as your second source, okay? Next, we have the TCC databases. That's where you can find other research sources. And again, you can find this in your learning module. Of course, you can go to the TCC library and ask the librarians for help through videos or books or magazine articles, or you can do a scholarly Google search. So just type in Google Scholar and search it there. Make sure that you get a reputable source. If you do it that way, it's not just a regular Google search. We're making sure that we have reputable sources. Okay, so you need 3 total sources, and you're going to make sure that you're using the Occupational Outlook Handbook as your primary source, and you are locating 2 others. So some more specifics for the slideshow, okay? You're going to choose a template, anything that works for your career. You can add in pictures. You can make it as focused on your career as possible so that it makes sense, right? You're going to make sure that you have 8 total content slides. So every student will have 8 slides in their slideshow, no more, no less. And those 8 slides have a uniformity, and they have requirements for each slide that is listed in the directive. Okay, the last slide in everyone's slideshow, slide 8, will be the reference slide using APA formatting. You should have a minimum of 6 visuals, things like maps, charts, pictures, graphics, etc. Make sure that you say where you got it from, because we're not plagiarizing. We're making sure that we're using an APA reference page on slide 8, which is our last slide, and we're making sure that we're using in-text citations. If you've never used in-text citations before, this is where you provide within the content. So that means in this case, in your content slide. So let's say on slide 4, you use 3 or 4 different pieces of information that you did not come up with, but that you found in your sources. You're just making sure that in parentheses and parentheticals that you're listing where they came from. This is short, this is easy. You just need to look up APA in-text citations. And again, there's lots of information on that within your weekly learning module. So look up APA in the learning module, it is there. All right, so now if everyone will just slide down in the directive to the area where all the boxes are, it says create slides in this order. You're gonna make sure to label the slides explicitly, meaning that if you are working on slide 3, notice slide 3 should be labeled working conditions. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So slide 1 is your title slide with your full name. You might want to include some cool pictures or visuals there. All right, slide 2. And again, I'm just reading from the directive. This is what needs to be on, very specifically, very organized. Slide 2, provide description and details of the job. What do you do every day, like your duties and responsibilities? And also give an interesting trivia fact about this job. So what's something that you learned in your research that you didn't know? Okay, again, label these specifically. So maybe trivia fact, and you give the trivia facts and you provide your in-text citations as to where you got that from. Okay. Slide 3 has 3 different criteria. You're going to describe the working conditions of the job. So what is it like? Where do you work? Slide 3, physical and emotional stress. What are some of the physical stressors and what are some of the emotional or psychological stressors of your job? And slide 3, the types of people you work with. So colleagues, clients, patients, public, etc. Okay. Slide 4, that's the outlook area of your slideshow, and there are 3 criteria there as well. So salary range, again, this is why the Occupational Outlook Handbook is great, because the government keeps recent statistics about this information. So look up the salary range. You might want to get specific to the region you want to work in, because they can be different. Future outlook for job growth. Find out how fast or how slow your particular career is growing and what it looks like for you upon graduation, as far as your eligibility for getting hired, how many jobs are in your area. And then also related careers that you could also pursue. So for example, if you were interested in teaching, what are some other careers you could pursue, right? Could you be a professor? Could you be a teaching assistant, right? What are some other things you could do? All right, slide 5 is preparation for your career. There's 3 criteria here as well. Knowledge required for this job. So what do you need to know? Physical skills required for the job. So think about physically what you need to be able to do. So for example, let's stick with that teacher example. Often students say there's no physical skills required. Well, that is wrong. I want you to think through and imagine what it is like for a teacher on a day-to-day basis. If you are a classroom teacher in an elementary school, you are hardly ever sitting. If you are like me and you're looking to be a college professor, when I am in the classroom, I am almost never sitting. What are some of the physical skills required for the job? Slide 5, education and license requirements. So you need to research and find out what are some licensing requirements, what are some exam requirements, what do I need to do to be able to complete and do my job in the state or city in which I wish to live. Finally, slides 6 and 7 are job potential. So slide 6 has 2 criteria. You're going to explain why you're seeking this career. So this is your biographical information, where you're probably not going to cite any sources because this is about you. So on slides 6 and 7, you're going to think about yourself. So explain why you're seeking this career. What's your motivation? And also explain why you believe you have the potential, right? So why do you feel like you would be a good accountant? Why do you feel like you'd be a good sports agent, etc.? Slide 7, the only one criteria is what are your chosen colleges and trainings to seek this job? So I want you to identify 3 schools that offer your program. And the reason for this is because if you haven't thought about it at this point, you need to be thinking about if you graduate from TCC with your AA degree, you can't automatically transfer to a Florida university of your choice. You have to actually, since you're transferring as a junior, you have to transfer and you have to apply to the program of study, because as a junior, you must declare a major. And if you declare a major, you have to be accepted into that program. So you've seen the t-shirts, right? Florida State College of Education, College of Medicine, College of Law, etc. You have to be admitted into that program. So this is why your admission to a Florida university of your choice is not necessarily guaranteed with an AA degree. You have to be thinking about which schools offer my program, what are their requirements for entry, and then you have to do the best job while you're in school here at TCC to get yourself admitted, okay? So look into which colleges in Florida, if that's where you want to stay, offer your programs, okay? And then think about why you're going to choose them. And finally, slide 8 will be the same. That's your reference slide. You're going to use APA formatting. Remember that you're using in-text citations throughout your entire slideshow, meaning any piece of information that you did not come up with, information that is fact or statistics, needs to be cited, needs to have in-text citations. And again, go into the learning module to discover where all of that is. Okay. All right. Also, what do we have in the learning module for you? So of course we have the directive that I just went over. Follow it super, super carefully while you're using the next 2 weeks to work on this. You're going to complete a discussion board that is going to prepare you for sort of working through and also help me make sure that you all are focused on getting this done. So complete a discussion board to help you think through what career you want to work on. Then you have a student sample. So this is a sample from a previous semester. So there may be some differences there, but I wanted you to see what a slideshow might look like. Then you're going to have an Occupational Outlook Handbook place. If you just click on that link, you'll be able to see the link for the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and it will remind you of how to use it and what to do. Next, you'll see that you have Project Help link, and this Project Help will take you to the librarian. Her name is Jules Bailey. and links you have there will teach you how and get you to the APA citation guides. It will get you to the plagiarism guide. It will also teach you, there's a video there to teach you how to use the research guide databases for SLS and this career project, which if you've used the databases in other classes, you kind of know the drill, but this one obviously is different for this class and this project, okay? And then you will see a link to actually submitting your slideshow. Again, don't procrastinate, take your time. This is important. This is not just a project where you get to like do some research on something that's obviously necessary. This is a skill for college, right? Know how to research, but you're researching something that is integral to what you're doing in school, like what you want to be, quote unquote, when you grow up, and how do I get there and how do I make these things happen? So take your time and use this, right? This should be meaningful to you because of that. So if you have questions, come and see me during office hours or hit me with an email and I am happy to help.